Hi, welcome to tonight's class on women's health and hormones. And I'm your host, Amanda Brunel. I feel like we're like gonna do Family Feud or something, or like Maury Povich, even more dramatic. So I'm a holistic health coach. I've been practicing since 2005. I started in 2004 is when I started my certification, and I got certified officially in 2005, and I have been helping people ever since. And I focus on gut health, hormone balancing, mood management, and skin health because those are all the things that I have improved in my own life. Having gone from being very emotionally upset in my early 20s, being diagnosed with early onset rheumatoid arthritis, being practically suicidal, addicted to alcohol and other substances, and being able to get to the point where I am now, where coffee's maybe my vice here and then, but I am not on any prescription drugs. I don't even use any over-the-counter drugs for the most part, and I manage my health primarily through natural means. And I will not say that it's necessarily easy, but there are simple gifts from the earth that we can use to help our bodies get back into balance and create homeostasis, because our bodies are not broken. Our bodies know inherently what needs to happen to keep us healthy. And we just have to find ways of getting rid of the interference that might be throwing us off balance, that might be intercepting our cells firing or our brains firing neurons and our cells expressing themselves in the natural way that they want to. So part of what I'm going to share today is how essential oils can support you in getting your body back to its natural inherent wisdom. So women's health and hormones, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I suffered from horrendously painful PMS for most of my life. And I would say it's been in the last probably 6 or 7 years where my cycle is pretty much easeful. I don't get cramps. If I do have anything out of balance, it's because I have not been taking care of myself or following my habits. So I'll share with you some of what I do personally and what I know has worked for some of my clients. If you're working on fertility, or if you're working on transitioning into the older stages of menstruation, which may lead into menopause, then there are solutions for all of us. So I'm happy you're here. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I will answer them as we go along. And then at the end, if you have anything you want to ask, or if there's something personal and you don't want it to be recorded, I will end the recording, and you can feel free to unmute yourself and turn your camera on if you like, and ask any more detailed questions that you have. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you spending your Tuesday evening with me. Some of you it's much later than it is for me. 7 p.m. here. All right, so take a moment to just check in with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I feel amazing, I'm a unicorn, I have no unwanted symptoms. And 10 being, I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. Everything's cray. I feel terrible. Where are you in your monthly cycle? So you can pop it in the chat if you feel comfortable. Let us know on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you? Allie, you're at about a 5. Okay, so you're both about at 5. Got it. So what symptoms are you experiencing? And there are some examples here up on the screen. If you want to pop those in the chat, if there's anything in this list that you're experiencing, or anything that you're experiencing that's not on this list, pop it in the chat. Ali asks about endometriosis, adenomyosis, it's hard to say, and PCOS. Okay, so I have been dealing with fibroids, and fibroids, so as an example, PCOS is related. When you have like these cystic tumors or fibroid tumors, it's basically your body's way of concentrating toxicity, and it puts it in a place that protects your core organs. So for me, I was on birth control for 5 years. The first 2.5 decades of my life, I was not very healthy whatsoever. I drank a lot of alcohol, ate a lot of sugar, ate a lot of like processed foods. So I'm still in a detox mode. That accumulation over time doesn't necessarily go away overnight. And now I'm at a place where my fibroids fortunately are not growing, but I'm working on detoxing my system so I can release them from my body. So There are ways to manage things so that they don't get worse, and for us to be able to completely expel things from our body. It can be pretty intensive, and it can take some time. So just think about how many years it took you to get to where you are, to have some perspective on how long it might take you to heal. Now, it's not necessarily going to take you 25 years to heal if it took you 25 years to get here, but it could take a few months, it could take a few years, it could come in stages. So, for me, it's a win that I feel so much better, like worlds better than I felt even just a few years ago, in terms of how my mood is. On a consistent basis, I wake up feeling good, and I don't fall into those really deep pits of depression that I used to fall into. So there are a couple of suggestions I can make for you if you or someone you know is dealing with those things: endometriosis, PCOS, adenomyosis. Did I say that right? So what is anyone dealing with mood swings? Let us know. Allie's got poor memory, long bleeding, 7 to 8 days, bloating, spotting during ovulation, ovary pain here and there, heavy feeling, uterus, severe fibromyalgia. Okay. Fibromyalgia is basically a fancy term for doctors saying, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, so we're going to call it fibromyalgia. So excuse my French, but yeah, when people say fibromyalgia, it just basically means, oops, someone just joined. So hi, Sherry. I don't know if you can hear me yet, but thanks for being here. And just go ahead and pop in. We are covering the questions on this slide. Oops, keep hitting the. So fibromyalgia is basically the body in inflammatory mode, and it's affecting all the organs. A lot of times it's affecting bone structure, it's affecting the muscles, it's affecting the joints. And so if you're dealing with something like fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, any of those autoimmune issues, your body is basically in an inflammatory state. And so inflammation isn't necessarily bad. The problem is when inflammation doesn't turn off. So we need inflammation. Inflammation helps, basically it just gives us a flush of cells that will help deal with any pain or foreign invaders that are in the body. If we're having a fever, inflammation is necessary. It's a necessary part of our body function. But the problem is when we are in flight or fight mode and we stay in fight mode for too long, our inflammatory response stays on all the time. Even if there's necessarily no reason for it. And it's because our body's just in fight mode. And it is definitely connected to your nervous system, because that is that fight flight mode scenario. So something like fibromyalgia can be addressed by focusing on creating a healthy inflammatory response in the body. So your body only turns on inflammation when it really needs to, and it will turn off when it doesn't need to. So we need to trigger parasympathetic activity, which is the calming. It's the relaxed mode. And in general, I would say people are in fight mode most of the time because we are pushed beyond our boundaries. I saw this great meme yesterday that said coffee pushes us past our boundaries, because we need stimulants and things like that to get us through the day, because otherwise we would be resting because our bodies can't handle this much activity. So it's no surprise that so many people are dealing with autoimmune issues, because we're all just pushing ourselves past our boundaries too much. We're using products that we shouldn't be using because they're made in a lab, and not even just made in a lab. Not that everything that's made in a lab is bad, but they're not properly tested long-term to determine what the long-term effects are. They're using a lot of toxic products that have been shown to be linked to cancer. They're just really cutting corners in a lot of areas. A lot of those products, they just don't meet certain standards of quality and purity and potency. So there is a lot that we can be doing. And one thing you can do for reducing inflammation is what is in your environment. What are you inhaling? What are you putting on your body? What are you consuming? What's the food you're consuming? And what are the thoughts you're consuming? Because that influences how our nervous system expresses itself. So I really believe in a holistic approach. You can take all the herbs and all the supplements on the planet, but if you are filling your brain with crappy thoughts, you're going to feel crappy. But if you are filling yourself with healthy foods and healthy supplements and essential oils and all these things, you actually get to influence how your brain expresses. So you may decide to choose healthier thoughts and choose people to be around you who make you feel better because you feel better. And so then in turn, you're making better choices. Because when we feel crappy, it's so easy to go into self beat up mode and self destruction mode. So just in general, being able to feel better allows that ripple effect of all of us feeling better in many ways. So Sherry, just to catch you up, we are sharing in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how we feel with our symptoms. 1 being we feel great, 10 being, I'm sorry, 1 being, 1 being we feel great, 10 being we're totally out of control and we feel terrible. So we had a couple of 5s in the chat. So feeling kind of on the brink of maybe being worse, maybe being better. And there might just be some things that we need to kind of push us down to that 1 of no unwanted symptoms. Elena mentions feeling fatigue, bloating, moody. Yep, I can relate to that. Sherry's at about a 4 or 5. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's great. All of you are taking the steps you need to start to feel better. So I just want you to take a moment to celebrate yourselves because, Ali mentioned at the beginning, we don't always notice or recognize what we are doing right. And it's so easy to focus on what we're not doing well. And I think that has that plays a big role in our healing, is just knowing that we're doing everything we can and we're exactly where we need to be in our journey. And that you being here right now is where you need to be in your journey. And so just remember that the answers are already within you and we're just kind of like excavating them. We're excavating them. We're learning more, we're letting go of things, we're reframing our perspective, we're getting more tools. And my goal is to help you become your own healer, because I could rattle things off to you all day, but until you've tried them, until you've integrated them into your lifestyle, you won't really know. One area for me that was a huge example of hormonal imbalance was sleeping. I had major trouble sleeping. And since I have worked on reducing my toxic load, which toxic load will interfere with your hormonal expression, and the more that I've eaten properly for my hormonal cycle throughout the month, you sort of eat different things. I know when to exercise, when not to exercise, how to exercise, at what level. That plays a big difference. And also learning, tracking my cycles so that the week before I'm going to get my period, I rest so that I'm not pushing myself over the edge, so that when my cycle comes, I am completely spent. And then I end up being totally exhausted and I can't process my food well, and I'm not sleeping well, and all the things. So I've learned to pay attention to how my body cycles within my own cycle. And essential oils have also played a huge part in me being able to sleep well. I have retrained my nervous system to know what it feels like to relax at night. And that is part of this process, is retraining our bodies. Because like I said at the beginning, our bodies already know what we need. Our bodies already know how to function. They're not broken. We're just reminding ourselves what it feels like to be in balance. A lot of folks are maybe not dealing with type 2 diabetes, but there's this new kind of diabetes. It's, I think we're calling it like type 4, that is really expressing as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, these brain issues. And the theory is that it's really stemming from blood sugar imbalance and insulin resistance. So nutrition will always be the first answer. You can't get around that. You can use oils till you're blue in the face, but if you're not eating properly, oils will only take you so far. They can support you. So if you're eating McDonald's all day, I'm not saying don't use oils, but we have to have perspective around like the holistic approach that I'm mentioning. Food is medicine, absolutely. So if you're working on fatigue or brain fog or memory or any of that, you want to pay attention to blood sugar levels and how you are managing what you're eating throughout the day. There are oils that can support metabolism and blood sugar regulation, grapefruit being one and cinnamon being another one. doTERRA is coming out with a new product line this week that I'm so excited about. I'm jealous of the people who got to do the clinical trials for this, but it is a line of products called MetaPower, and it's basically a system that helps us regulate blood sugar and insulin to promote anti-aging and to balance our metabolisms and ultimately help our brain health. So I love food so much too, Allie. Food is the best. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about the endocrine system. Anybody here like love biology and science, or is it just me? I kind of love biology and science a little bit. So the endocrine system is basically directly involved in growth and development. It helps with our metabolism, it regulates our nutrients, it creates overall homeostasis. And if you're also into the spiritual world, your endocrine system is connected to your chakras. So you have your crown chakra, you have your third eye chakra, which is the pineal gland. You have the throat chakra, which is the thyroid. Heart chakra is the thymus. And then you're moving down, you've got your solar, which is the pancreas, the sacral is the ovaries, and also connected to the adrenals. And then the root is sort of the sex organs and the sacral area. So it's pretty powerful that, you know, when we're working on chakra balancing, if that's your way into a lot of this, you're really helping to balance your hormones and bringing energy to those organs that are managing how your body is functioning and expressing. So this system of glands. It produces and sends hormones to your targeted organs and tissues via the circulatory system. So we want to make sure that our blood is rich and hydrated and nutrient dense, so that because it is carrying our hormones to their desired destinations. So hydrating the blood is really important for hormone health. So you can hydrate your blood with water. You can also hydrate your blood with water containing foods like celery, romaine lettuce, watermelon, pineapple, mango. Fruits and vegetables are hydrating to the system. Celery juice in the morning is a really great way to oxygenate your cells and clean the blood, because we want to make sure that things are flowing. We have to have the river clear so that the little endocrine hormone fishies can be floating around in there. I don't know if that's a great analogy, especially if you're a vegan, but essential oils can benefit us because they're circulated in the same way that our hormones are. They go through the blood and they oxygenate the blood and they open things up and they help to hydrate and create flow in our system. So if we want the distribution method of our hormones to be seamless, we can be using things like food and water and essential oils to literally streamline the blood, streamline that process. Allie doesn't like the taste of celery juice. Yep, I will agree. You know what I do? I put a little drop of lemon oil in there. Sometimes I'll even put cilantro if I want something more savory. You could also try Slim and Sassy, which is being rebranded as MetaPower. So putting oils in it actually helps, because celery is not my favorite. I will be honest. I don't love the taste of celery. So adding oils helps for sure. You can also make a combined juice of celery. You could add a little romaine lettuce, a little cucumber, and then a tiny bit of green apple. You don't want to put too much apple or carrot because there's too much sugar, and then that can spike your blood sugar and kind of throw off that blood sugar regulation. So, so having more vegetables is better, but you don't have to torture yourself. You can add a little bit of sweetness if you need to. Just use, it's preferable to use green apple because it has less sugar than red apple. So any questions about the endocrine system or how it functions and why it's so important? We really want to make sure that the correct hormones are getting to the correct place, and that our hormones are, you know, our organs are not overfiring, that we're not overfiring cortisol and throwing off our whole adrenal function, because every hormone is related to the other hormone. estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prostaglandin, all the things are dependent on each other and work with each other to keep us in balance. So traditional medical doctors will, if you're, having an issue with your pancreas, they're like, okay, well, maybe we need to do surgery on your pancreas. They're not really paying attention to what's happening with your thyroid or what's happening with your ovaries or what's happening with your pituitary gland or your pineal gland. And you can't focus on one without focusing on the others. Your thyroid might be under functioning because your pineal gland is calcified. Or your pineal gland is calcified because your thyroid is not functioning because we spent 3 decades spritzing perfume on our necks that was filled with preservatives and chemicals and all sorts of hormone-disrupting toxins. Adrenal glands. So the adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys in our backs, and it basically regulates the function of adrenaline, which, as you know, if something were happening with your daughter and suddenly you had to react, adrenaline is going to pump through your body to create alertness, allow you to run faster, lift more. You get that adrenaline rush and it makes you feel good because it's designed for us to act. The problem is people are in that heightened state of adrenaline a lot of the day because of our stress levels. So they end up producing so much adrenaline that they're in adrenal fatigue. And so adrenal fatigue a lot of times looks like really, really, really tired in the morning. Maybe there's a spike of energy in the afternoon, and then you crash. And then as you go to bed, everything turns on and you're laying staring at the ceiling all night long. And then you're exhausted in the morning, all day, feeling exhausted. Maybe there's a little spike and then you crash and then you can't fall asleep. That is kind of textbook adrenal fatigue. Pineal gland gets calcified from all the fluoride in our water, all the chemicals in our water, all the preservatives and pesticides and all the things. It just sort of like gets cloggy. Much like if you didn't clean, I don't know, you didn't clean the pipes in your house or you didn't clean your toilet or something. It just gets murky and muddy and clogged up. So to uncalcify the pineal gland, you can use essential oils here. You can also use frankincense under the tongue or on the roof of the mouth. You can be doing regular detoxification. You can diffuse in the house. There are a lot of different ways that energetically and physically you can release whatever is stuck. All the organs can get sort of clogged and sluggish. Your liver can get clogged and sluggish. Your pancreas, people have a lot of pancreatic cancer because it's an area where things can kind of get lodged and just stuck there. Being able to move your body, doing infrared saunas is another great way to help move things that might be stuck. Lymphatic drainage massage, dry brushing, anything that moves the lymphatic system and moves toxins throughout your body will help you to expel them. I recommend colonics if you can do them. Not everybody's okay with it. Not everybody can get to a good colonic therapist. If you can learn to do enemas at home, that can be really helpful for just opening up your channels of elimination. So you could absolutely use frankincense on the third eye. I really love using sandalwood on my third eye. Emotionally, sandalwood is super powerful. I absolutely am obsessed with the smell of sandalwood, and it's the oil of sacred devotion. So it calms the mind, the heart, and it helps us commune with God. It allows us to hear the subtle voice of spirit and raises us to higher levels of consciousness. It helps us reach beyond our current confines and belief systems. We can let go of attachments to fame and wealth and the need for acceptance. So a lot of the energetic stuff in terms of what our purpose is and seeing the clarity of how we're moving forward. If emotionally and spiritually we're all jumbled up, that can create some calcification also. So using sandalwood or frankincense, which is the oil of truth, using them together even, that can just help to create more cellular flow and more spiritual energetic flow. Okay, great questions. If I missed anything, let me know. And if any more questions come up, keep popping them in the chat. So this is my #1 suggested product It's actually 3 products in one. It comes in a package. It's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Like I mentioned, you could be doing all the right things. If you're not getting the right nutrition, it's going to be hard for your body to function at its optimal level. And when I talk about nutrition, I'm also talking about supplementation, because the fact of the matter is, even if we're eating a perfect diet, it's impossible to get enough nutrients from our food. Even if you like go to the farmer's market and buy all your food from the farmer's market, in general, the soil in the United States is so depleted of nutrients from just consistent farming and not letting the land rest, not invigorating the land with new minerals. And you know, all the toxicity that gets sucked up into the rain and comes down on our crops, the runoff of pesticides and chemicals. You could have an organic farm next to a non-organic farm, and the non-organic farm pesticides and chemicals are just running off into the organic farm. So when you can buy organic, absolutely do it. You have a better chance of not having those pesticides and chemicals on the products. And you're going to get usually a higher quality nutritional content in your food. But you have to eat 50 apples today to equal the nutritional equivalent of 1 apple 50 years ago. And that is just what we're dealing with, unfortunately. So if you don't feel good, you are probably not getting enough vitamins and minerals. And on top of that, your body is probably not processing them in the way that it needs to, because of the sluggishness of your organs, or toxins just kind of stuck around in your body. There are a lot of explanations, and you know, it's up to us to start to pay attention to the messages that we're getting. What is our body telling us? So if you're feeling fatigued, if you're feeling bloated, if you're feeling gassy, if you're feeling sluggish and tired during the day, likely your body is not processing the nutrients that you're getting into your system. It's not processing them and breaking them down enough to give you energy. So the Lifelong Vitality Pack I love because it's a bioavailable system of 3 supplements. You have an antioxidant blend, which has things like ashwagandha. You have an omega, which includes your 369 fatty acids. And then you have your Microplex VMZ, which is the multivitamin that has your daily recommended amounts of vitamins and minerals in a bioavailable format, which is critical, because if your supplements are not bioavailable, you're basically just peeing them out. So you have to be able to use them. Your cells need to use them to be able to feel any sort of difference. So what makes this so unique is that the essential oils in the omega help to push the nutrition of the multivitamin into your cell, because essential oils are lipophilic, meaning they're fat-based, and your cell membrane is fat-based. So it like attracts like. So the essential oil goes up to the membrane and the cell says, yes, you can come inside. And the essential oil goes inside the cell and activates the cell and turns it on. So it does what it's supposed to do, which is to say, oh my gosh, there's a virus in here. Get out the virus. Or, oh my gosh, I've been sleepy. I need to start firing neurons. Or, oh my gosh, like, where have I been? I need to die. I've just been like hanging out here way too long. I need to die, because cancer cells are basically just zombie cells that won't die. So we want to have healthy cell function in our bodies. And this pack of vitamins really supports that natural, healthy functioning of our cells. It helps to reduce inflammation. It gives us powerful antioxidants that get rid of free radicals that are in our body and that are calcifying our organs and creating sluggishness in our organs. So this is my favorite. Has become my favorite doTERRA product. It was in the beginning something I swore I would never use, and I bought it just to kind of amuse the woman who introduced me to doTERRA. I was like, sure, I'll buy those things, but I'm not going to use them. I returned them after a few days. And she yelled at me, so I was scared and I reordered them. She's kind of a scary person. She's a lovely person, but also kind of scary. And I reordered them, and I promised I would take them for 30 days because I'm a health coach and I tell people to try things. You know, you're not going to see things overnight. I just didn't believe they were going to work. But I committed to them for 30 days. And after 30 days, I would say after 3 weeks, I noticed a huge shift in my energy, which I was like, maybe that's just a coincidence. And then after 60 days, I noticed a huge change in my skin. I used to have horrendous acne, like so much acne that like, I feel like people were looking at me and like, oh man, that's so sad. I feel like you're too old to have that much acne. And so it was 60 days where people in my office were like, what did you do to your face? Like, did you get a face peel? What happened? And I told them that I was just using supplements. And they were like, oh, okay, well, that's not what I thought you were going to say. It was very like anticlimactic. But it's because they helped to expel the toxicity that was being expressed out through my skin. Because if your channels of elimination are blocked, and if the toxicity can't come out through your urine or your bowels, it's going to come out through your skin. So that's what was happening for me. Everything was just clogged up. I was backed up, and my body needed to get the crap out as fast as it could. So it was coming out of my skin. And I can say very proudly and very happily that I'm not even wearing any makeup. I have no foundation on. I don't even go out of the house with it anymore. I never used to leave the house without makeup. Never. I was so ashamed of my skin. And I have to remember, like, talking about celebrating those wins, sometimes forget, and I take it for granted now, how like easily I can just walk around without makeup on. And it makes me very happy. So I only break out if I'm not really following the protocols that I've set for myself. And, you know, hey, we're human. We can't be perfect all the time. It happens. And at least I know that I have some solutions that I can use if I do break out. I got my tea tree, I got my clary sage, I got my HD clear. So there's ways to mitigate the side effects. If you have questions about the Lifelong Vitality Pack, feel free to pop those in the chat. All right, so in caring for your liver, because if you have a sluggish liver, that can manifest in just overall sluggishness and fatigue. And healthy liver function is the underpinning of hormone balance. So if our liver is not really working at its highest capacity, the rest of our hormone function is going to lag and drag as well. So drinking water and adding essential oils to it is one way that you can help to support the liver. Number one, adding oils to your water makes it taste better, so you want to drink more water. So that's one way. And number two, water is basically a distribution method of the oil into your bloodstream and into your digestive system, so that your body can get into your bloodstream and get into your cells. So I like to add a little pinch of Himalayan pink salt into my water just to increase the hydration. Or I like to use trace minerals. Concentrace is a brand that I really like. I just put a couple of drops of trace minerals and my essential oil in there, and then I'll drink my water. And I drink way more water when I do that. It improves the taste and it's better for hydration. You can also take Zendocrine. So Zendocrine is a blend that doTERRA has created that supports healthy hormone function and detoxification of the liver. I recommend taking one Zendocrine soft gel. You can take it daily, just like on a regular detoxification basis, or you can do a more concentrated 30-day cleanse. I guide people through a cleanse a couple of times a year. We'll probably do the next guided cleanse in February. But if you want to do that cleanse self-guided, let me know and I can give you the protocols and kind of guide you through what to do. But you can take Zendocrine daily, especially if you're dealing with some of the health concerns that you all posted in the chat. I highly recommend taking the soft gel with the complex, however, because the soft gel will help the cell spit out the toxins, and then the herbal complex in the Zendocrine gives your body something for those toxins to bind to so that it can be safely excreted through the body. I am super sensitive, delicate flower, and I took the Zendocrine on its own and I started breaking out because I was detoxing way faster than my body could handle. But when I added in the Zendocrine complex, that totally went away. So I think the balance of the two of them is really important. And if you don't like lemons, for instance, you can mix other oils in your water. There's lime. Actually, I prefer lime over lemon personally. There's bergamot, green mandarin, grapefruit. Did I say that? There's going to be this new Meta Power option. Okay, so talking more about your adrenals. Guess what, Allie? Your intuition is telling you to use Magnolia, perhaps for a reason. If you're feeling adrenal fatigue and you're naturally gravitating towards an oil, it's probably your intuition telling you to use that oil for a reason. So applying Magnolia, you can apply it to your adrenals. So you could rub it, on your back in that area just below your ribs. You can also rub it around your belly button. You can apply it to the sections of your feet that are connected to the adrenals. If you don't have a map, a reflexology foot map, let me know. You can just text me after this and I'll text you a picture of it. I have it saved on my phone. Also super helpful are Mito2 Max. So Mito2 Max is a caffeine-free energy supplement. It took me like 6 years to try this because I was like, I don't need it. My energy's fine. And I started taking it. I did a challenge earlier this year. It was a Boost Your Metabolism challenge. And I started taking Mito2 Max and I was astonished at the difference. And I thought I was energetic. I had no idea. Mito2 Max is very, it keeps you on an even keel, whereas coffee kind of like pumps you up and then you kind of crash. Mito2 Max works with the mitochondria in your cells, which is the part of your body that's responsible for producing energy. So it's a really powerful complex that is not overstimulating. And it's really good for anyone who's dealing with ADHD, focus, attention, memory, brain fog issues. I highly recommend Mito2 Max. I don't recommend taking it past like 1 or 2 p.m. just in case you don't want to have too much energy in that latter part of the day. So take it with your morning or lunchtime supplements. Yeah. Oh, Elena loves Magnolia. Is Mito2 Max? No, Mito2 Max is not in the Lifelong Vitality Pack, but when you get the Lifelong Vitality Pack through your loyalty orders, you can add on Mito2 Max at a discount. I think it's like maybe $25 or something instead of $30 something. So you get a pretty decent discount. Oh my gosh, Alan drinks 3 sugar-free Monsters a day. Oh, his poor organs. Well, if he's open to it, yes. People have to go at their own pace, and he might not be ready to give up his 3 sugar-free Monsters because there may be some emotional attachment to those Monsters, but people have been like dropping dead of heart attacks from those things. Not to scare you, but just to say they're very dangerous. You know, people in their 50s are like having these like events, cardiac arrest, and people don't know what it is, and then they find out they've been drinking these energy drinks. So if you want something that is natural, sustainable, good for your organs, then Mito2 Max is a great option. Yeah, I get you. I hear you. He may not be in a state to take care of his body in that way yet. I get it. Okay, so other oils that are supportive, basil and geranium. If you have those at home, you can mix them in a roller bottle. I would say like you could do, say you have a whole bottle, you can do 1/3 essential oils and the rest fractionated coconut oil. So in that 1/3, I would do half basil, half geranium. So so there's 200 drops in a 10 milliliter bottle, and 1/3 of that is like 67 drops ish. So I would do like 33 drops each of basil and geranium, and then the rest fractionated coconut oil. And then about like 30 to 45 minutes before you go to bed at night, rub the basil and geranium mixture on your adrenals, or you could also do Magnolia if you have that handy. And that will help to support just proper adrenal function and hopefully help you avoid that super burnout in the morning and then like wide awake at night. I actually was using Balance and Serenity in the diffuser, and I was doing basil and geranium on my adrenals when I was dealing with my insomnia a few years ago. You can use regular basil. Holy basil is also really supportive for hormonal balance, and you can use that on your third eye, and you can also drink it as a tea at night. That's really calming. So you could drink your holy basil. Some people find holy basil stimulating because it does stimulate like kind of your pituitary and pineal gland. So I would experiment with Tulsi during the day and see how it makes you feel. But the basil and geranium combo I find to be really calming. Geranium is also the oil of love and trust. So if you're dealing with any sort of relationship conflict with yourself or with a significant other, putting geranium on the heart is a great way to open things up. P.S. I'm raffling off an oil. So just so you know, we're going to end this meeting probably in the next 10 minutes, and I'm going to do a little giveaway. So if you can stick around till the end, I would love to have you stay. All right. So the female reproductive system, it's so funny. I feel like Most guys have no idea what this is. If you showed this to them, they'd be like, "Oh, that looks like a skull. Is that one of those things you hang on the wall?" Like one of those like skull, like those super trendy skull things. So funny to me. Didn't we learn anything in grade school? So this is, basically all of us are dealing with some sort of phase of our reproductive system and our reproductive health. So ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone, which are crucial for fertility, but they're also really crucial for emotional and physical health. So if our estrogen, our progesterone is not in balance, everything else is going to be out of balance as well. So nutrition and hydration are key. And like I said, adding oils into what you're currently doing will just help to enhance your body's natural cellular function, and help to detoxify, decalcify, all the things to get your organs functioning and back into balance. If you're dealing with any sort of PMS symptoms like cramping, or if you're having cramping in between your cycle when you're ovulating, if you're feeling any sort of gas, bloating, upset, you can take this oil, which is Clary Calm, and you can massage this into your abdomen every day. You don't have to just do it during your cycle, especially do it the week before your cycle starts. It has Vitex in it, which is chasteberry, and it's associated with there's a lot of studies to show the benefits of Vitex with balancing women's hormones. It's also got clary sage. It's the primary ingredient, hence why it's called Clary Calm. The other place you can put this oil is on the inside of your ankles. It's the meridian point for female hormones. I am obsessed with Clary Calm. I could drink this stuff. If you smell it and you're like, no, it might mean that you need it, but you maybe aren't quite ready for it yet. If that happens and you don't like the smell, you can put it on the bottoms of your feet and on the inside of your ankles, so it's not so close to your nose, and you'll get the benefit without having to smell it. You could also mix it with another oil that you really love. Like say you just love lavender. You could always add a couple of drops of extra lavender into the bottle. You just pop the top off. I don't know if you know this trick, but you take the top and then you just wedge it underneath the little plastic part, and then it pops the top off really easily. And then you can add whatever other oils into your roller that you want, and then you could just, pop the top back on and seal it back up. So Clary Calm, yeah, helps with hormonal balancing, heavy periods, cramps, hot flashes, mood swings, pretty much everything. I like to carry it around in my purse and just put it on as a perfume. And I put it on a few times during the day. It makes me happy also. I just love the smell of it. But my periods are so much more manageable since I started using this regularly. Rose, also really good for hormones. Any sort of flower essence or flower essential oil is going to be supportive of hormones. If you think about the way flowers blossom and the way that flowers look, a lot of times they mimic the female reproductive organs. So it's no surprise that they would support the female reproductive organs. So flowers are always a really good option for us and for balancing our hormones. Elena makes her own blend and uses it every day. Love it. Clary Calm helped Allie's period be very manageable last cycle. Love it. Yeah, it's really about the consistency. So if you're, we're human, we're so funny. We're like, I've been to the gym for like 3 months now, feeling good. I don't think I have to go anymore. And then of course, all the progress you made gets unwound. So with the oils, you might go through cycles where you're like, I'm all about Clary Calm, and then you might need a break. But just notice if you stop using something, if it has an effect on how you're feeling. You might need to swap things out, like maybe Clary Calm, you're all about it for a month, and then you realize, oh, wow, I'm really gravitating towards Rose. Trust your intuition and the things that you're really drawn to, because it's likely that little lizard brain of yours telling you what it is that you need the most. So I love my rose oil. I apply it over my heart. It helps with your libido. It helps with emotional balance, confidence, openness. It is it has the highest vibrational frequency of any oil on the planet. It's no wonder that people give it as a gift for Valentine's Day, because the highest vibrational emotion is love. So rose is the highest vibrational plant and love is the highest vibrational emotion. And so it makes sense that those two things are married together, no pun intended, and are given as a gift on Valentine's Day. Phytoestrogen, this is really helpful for people who are going into the peri or premenopause or even menopause. It's like hormone replacement therapy, but it's not actually estrogen. And it helps to balance any excess xenoestrogens that we might have gotten from our food or from certain products, products that sort of act like estrogens, but then kind of hijack the system and throw it out of balance. This is a supplement that will help to mitigate that. It does contain soy. If you are allergic to soy, then this may be a product you want to avoid, but it's fermented soy. So it's different than, just the typical soy milk you drink or, eating edamame or something. It is made to be bioavailable when it's fermented. And it's much safer than a lot of the other prescription options that come into our lives. So if you're dealing with any pre or peri or postmenopausal symptoms, this is a supplement that I would suggest using. If you are not in that stage of life, you may not need this as much. People in their younger years, in their 20s, have used this as well, but it's primarily geared towards peri and post menopausal, and also during menopause. Bone nutrient, this can be taken at any time. I think, what was somebody saying? By the time we turn like 30 or 35, our bones are already kind of deteriorating. If you have any imbalance in your alkalinity in your body, so if you drink coffee or if you have sweets or if you're stressed out and your body's not in an alkaline state, your body will start to draw the vitamins and minerals from your bones to alkalize your blood. And that's why so many people end up with osteoporosis in their older years, because all those years of having non-alkaline blood has pulled the vitamins and minerals from your bones, because your body is so genius and brilliant. It's like, oh my God, this isn't good. What do I do? Well, the bones are right here. Might as well just take the vitamins and minerals from the bones. So if you can infuse your body with the nutrition that it needs for the bones, and it helps to alkalinize the blood, then your blood won't, your cells in your body won't pull the nutrition from your bones. Anybody can take this. You can take this at your age, any age, and it's bioavailable for the system. Care for your pancreas. So Slim and Sassy, it's being rebranded as MetaPower, but it's being reformulated as well to be more effective. But this is the blend that supports metabolism, regulates blood sugar, and releases excess water. So if you're dealing with edema, or you're having, blood sugar spikes, you're crashing in the middle of the day, or you are having any sort of adrenal fatigue, because that can be connected to blood sugar imbalance. This combination, this grapefruit, peppermint, lemon combination, or the MetaPower combination, aka Slim and Sassy, is a great one to be using on a daily basis. So we become insulin resistant from eating too much sugar and foods on the high glycemic index. So when you're taking this blend, if you're eating a high glycemic index food, like say French fries or something, and you eat the French fries with protein or with fat, and you use this essential oil, it balances out the spike of your blood sugar. So it's not that you never have to eat French fries ever again, because French fries sometimes bring us joy and we want to eat the French fries. But if we can take it with either healthy fats or with protein or with essential oils, it will just help to balance out the effect of that high glycemic food. Oh, go back to the last screenshot. Yes, where do we go? Here we go. Can I go back? Yeah. Are you talking about this one, Allie? Care for your pancreas? Bone. Oh, got it. Okay. Going back to bone. That sounded really. Never mind. There we go. Let me know when you snapped it and I'll move forward. Go. Great. Is Slim and Sassy? No, see, that's partly why they're rebranding it. It was called Slim and Sassy, and then they realized it appealed to a very specific demographic. So they're rebranding it as Metapower because anybody can use it. We were like internally calling it Cut and Confident for the guys. So yeah, the rebranding I think will take care of that question. Thyroid. Anybody have thyroid issues that you know about, or do you know anyone in your life who has thyroid issues? I know a lot of people who have been on thyroid medication and they've been able to either reduce or completely come off of their medications using supplements and essential oils. So this is not a life sentence if you're dealing with it. It can take time and dedication and consistency, but it is possible. And maybe even if you can't come off of it completely, you could reduce the amount of medication that you're taking. I wouldn't recommend doing any of this without the consultation of your doctor, but you can make a roller like this of clove, myrrh, frankincense, and lemongrass, add on some fractionated coconut oil and apply to the thyroid. That's primarily if you have hypothyroid. If you have hyperthyroid, which is a little less common, it seems like most people have hypo, but if you have hyper, you can let me know, text me and I'll send you a recipe for that. Pineal gland. So we talked about this. You can use frankincense, sandalwood, or one of my favorites, Immortelle. This is such a luxurious oil. It is one of the more expensive oils, but you can get it for free with your doTERRA points. When you accrue your points, I usually get this for free. And then a quick hack, if you get an empty roller and you take half of this roller and dump it into your empty roller, you have 2 halves of Immortelle, and then you fill the rest up with fractionated coconut oil because this is not already diluted, and then you suddenly have 2 Immortelles. And that way it's that you have it diluted if you don't want to apply it directly to your face. This is an oil that you can apply neat. It's really good for wrinkles. It's good for evening your skin tone, but it's also really good for that pituitary pineal gland area. So it helps the body to, it doesn't have melatonin in it, but it helps the body to produce melatonin. You can also support your system if you're having trouble sleeping with Serenity and Copaiba soft gels. Those are also, Serenity soft gels are flipping amazing. I always take them with me when I travel because I usually sleep pretty well, but when I travel in a new area, sometimes don't do as well. So yeah, Serenity is just incredibly effective as a soft gel as well as an oil. All right, so the endocrine system, we're just kind of seeing a full picture here of how it all works together, how you can care for your liver, your pancreas, your adrenals, and your thyroid. If you want to take a screenshot of this, this kind of sums everything up in one snapshot. And there are some themes of things that you can be using that will support you overall. Mito2 Max can support you overall. Frankincense is just so chemically complex and can support you. The Metapower that's coming out, the Zendocrine. You may not want to do all these things at once. You may want to stagger things. So if you're confused and you're not sure exactly where to start for you, text me and I will give you some recommendations based on what you specifically are dealing with, because I know you all pretty well individually and you might need a slightly different entry point. So I'm happy to help you if you need that guidance. If you've been using oils for a while, you might have an intuition, like whatever your brain is like, ooh, I really want to try that. Trust that, because that's going to mean more than whatever it is I'm telling you. So what a sample wellness box could look like is Claricom, Rose, the Bone Nutrient, and the phytoestrogen. So once you have your doTERRA membership, you get access to doTERRA's loyalty rewards program, and you can customize a wellness box every month to whatever you want. I stopped buying things at places like Whole Foods and on Amazon, and I've redirected my budget away from those things to doTERRA because I get a better quality product. I get a free product every month. I get rewards back on every purchase that I make. And the rewards are extremely generous. It's not like you just get like $1 for what you're spending. On a 125 PV order, PV means basically product value, I earn 30% back on that. Oh man, I picked a wrong number to do math. 30% of 125. Anyone? It's kind of a lot. Let's just round it up to 150. I usually spend about 150 bucks a month on my doTERRA order. 30% of that, I get 50 bucks back. So I'm spending 150, but I get 50 back. I don't know many programs that give you that much value. So I end up getting like hundreds of dollars worth of free stuff every couple of months. If I'm spending about like 150 bucks a month, every 3 months, I have $150 to spend. So I can get rose, I can get sandalwood, I can get yarrow palm. We didn't talk about yarrow palm very much because I think this is a little bit older of a presentation. But yarrow palm, if you are not taking yarrow palm daily, I highly encourage you to start. I think it's probably the #1 oil, and I'm glad I remembered it because I really need to put that in this presentation. That is probably the #1 oil for just overall hormonal health that you can put under your tongue, put it in a smoothie, put it on your face, however you can get it into your body. The pomegranate oil and the yarrow palm work together so synergistically to deliver all of the benefits that your body needs for hormonal balancing. So yarrow palm comes in a little kit. You can get kind of all the things in the kit, or you can get them individually. And I often get it for free with my points. So this is an example kit. You can customize this to however you want, and you can get as little or as much as you want every month. If you are doing at least 50 PV, you earn points back. If you do 100 PV, you earn points and you get your shipping for free. And then 125, you get points, you get free shipping, and you get the free product of the month. And it's awesome. So I've been doing this for 8 years, and I can't imagine, every month I get excited. I've been doing this for 8 years, and it still feels like Christmas every single month. It's like, I don't know, I love it. One modality I want to share with you is called Symphony of the Cells. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but this is a really powerful, simple technique that you can learn, and you can do it at home. And this is the hormone balancing protocol. All you do, you can have somebody do this on you. You apply fractionated coconut oil to the back, to the neck and the shoulders. And then you literally, super simple, you just apply 2 to 3 drops of each oil in consecutive order. So with frankincense, you'll see here, it shows application, smell it, and then rub it on the bottoms of the feet. So, you know, that's basically what you do. You put it on, you know, thyme. You would put fractionated coconut oil on first. You put thyme on the back, you smell it, and then you rub the excess on the bottoms of the feet. And you do the same thing for each oil. And it is so supportive for the lymphatic system and also for hormonal balancing. So if you're looking for hormonal balance, I highly recommend learning Symphony of the Cells. You can do it at home. If you don't have anybody to do it on your back for you, you can do it just on your feet. And you'll still get a lot of benefit because the feet are a map of your organ system, and they are a great access point to getting the oils into your bloodstream within 20 minutes. All right, so we are complete. Ooh, and right on time. Great. If you have any final questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to do a little raffle, and I have a very special oil for you, very special ladies making time for me on Tuesday. I'm very excited about it. If you want to post in the chat what your #1 takeaway was, what's the one thing that you're going to walk away with that you're like, I didn't know that before, and this is going in my pocket, and I am going to start to implement this into my life. Post that in the chat. Always curious what people glean from these. It's always different for everyone. And I'm going to draw a name in a moment. What you got? What did you learn? Anything new? Elena, you've been doing oils for a while. I know you have a lot of knowledge. I'm curious if you learned anything new. Oh, you got a thyroid blend. Woo! Awesome. Definitely the adrenal system, brand new news. Yes. Yeah, I know. The adrenal system, that is, it is affecting most people, and I don't think they know it. So there are definitely simple things you can do to create some balance in your life. Oh yeah, Sherry, yeah, you're just at the very beginning of this journey. So I'm very excited. I'm glad you came tonight. I know it's probably a lot of information. So we'll definitely get to integrate everything together and create a plan for you. All right, y'all. So I'm picking a name. And the winner is Ladies on a Roll, girl. Pays to come to these classes. Can you see? Allie? I can't see it, but it's Allie. Allie won. And you know what you won? Girl? Oh, girl. Got you some jasmine oil. Jasmine. Oh, man. This oil is, I'm going to say, it does increase libido quite a bit. So I'm just going to warn you. Just gonna warn you about that, but it's very supportive for female hormones. And the reason it increases libido is because it balances hormones and it helps with the progesterone, estrogen balance. My libido is high. Oh boy, you're in for a treat. Yeah, it's also really good for skin. So if you're looking to create more hydration in your skin and youthfulness in your skin, you can also use it on your face. So I'll be sending that your way. I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, this ends the official portion of the class. If you are curious about doTERRA as a business, how to share it, how to earn money, you can stick around for this latter part. If you got what you needed tonight, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I see you, and I will do whatever I can to help you feel as best as you possibly can in your life. So you're welcome to hop off, and I will be in touch with you soon. If you want to stick around, I will be going into a bit of the business, and I can share more about that with you. You're welcome, Elena. I'll see you soon. Yeah, jasmine is such a beautiful urban tea. Every time I walk down the street and I smell jasmine flowers, I'm just like a dog. I'm like, what is that? And it's always the jasmine. Yeah, it's so lovely to share space with you all. Thank you again. And yeah, if you want to stick around and you want to learn more about sharing and building a business, then feel free to stay. If you're complete, you can hop off. All right, so yay, bye Sherry. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You're welcome to stay, but if you're complete, you can hop off.
Take care.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Hey girl. So this is a lot of what I shared earlier, but it's a little bit different. So do you want to hear about this just in a potentially different way?
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
Awesome.
Is it still also going to be benefiting people who are listening in on the recording as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure if you're still recording or not.
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Okay, cool.
I can always edit it, but I will keep going. So people fall usually into one of three categories. Sometimes people just want to use the oils. And I would say 85% of people who use doTERRA just want to use the oils. They don't want to be bothered with anything else. They just love the products. They love how it makes them feel, and they're happy being a customer. So if that's you, you're probably not watching anymore. A lot of times, those 85% of people absolutely love the product so much that they end up sharing it with everyone they know. They're like talking about it in the Whole Foods checkout line. They're talking about it with their church. They're sharing it with their mom and their sister and their coworkers. If that's you and you want to share oils, you can pay yourself back for your own orders, so you get free healthcare. You can also get some free products that way. It's a really low pressure, casual way of making a little extra money and earning some extra products. Others get really impassioned by this whole mission, and they decide that they want to have the option to really create some residual income. They are excited about teaching classes and empowering others to become healers at home, and they decide to become a leader and a builder, a business builder with doTERRA. So it's a great way to focus on entrepreneurial ventures. If you are somebody who is ambitious, you have a clear mission and vision, you get really excited about helping others, then this could be a really good fit for you. And I've been doing this for 8 years, and it has completely changed my life. I get to have complete freedom in my day. I don't have to work a regular corporate job. I can take freelance gigs when I want. I can travel when I want. I can work from anywhere. It has been the biggest gift. Beyond just the financial freedom, I have time freedom, which, you know, being in my 40s now, I realize how critical that is. I want to have time to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I don't want to be at the beck and call of anybody else. I want to work for me. And so Allie asks the difference between level 2 and 3. So sharing is more like if you were, telling your friends about a book that you loved, and then everybody went and bought that book and you got a little bit of a kickback, or maybe you got some free books as a gift. It's just a little bit, you're not necessarily teaching classes, you're not necessarily as time invested in the process. It's just a little bit more free form and casual. Yeah. And I would say, Allie, you're at the point of sharing. And a lot of times people start with sharing and they stay sharing forever. They're just sort of like, oh, I'll send you referrals when I can. Oh, I'll invite people to classes when I can. And it's a little bit more at their own pace, on their own time frame. Sometimes people start sharing with the intention to teach, and the intention to create residual income, and the intention to spend more time. Very rarely do people jump in like automatically teaching. People usually only do that if they've been using doTERRA kind of like on the sly for a while, or if they're already a health coach or some sort of practitioner and they have an audience or an office or a place where they're already holding classes, and it's just really easy for them to integrate doTERRA classes also. It's not that it's not possible to start teaching right away, but usually people need an experience with the oils before they feel comfortable teaching other people about it. So for me, it took me about 9 months before I was ready to teach myself. I would go to classes. I went to like every possible class I could go to, and I soaked up all the information, but I didn't really start taking ownership over it until I had some pretty serious results in my health. And I had been to enough classes where I was like, okay, I get this. I could like teach this. And it started off with me co-teaching. So, my mentor would hold a class and I would invite people to it, and she would teach and I would just kind of like share my experiences. And then the next class, like I would teach a little bit and she would teach most of it. And we kind of went like that until I felt comfortable teaching on my own. So, so you can ease into it at your own pace. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah, taking some time to learn the sharing process and evolving into teaching and building. That's sort of the natural progression for most people. So there are 3 ways to share. You can create a referral partnership. So that would be more of that casual sharing option. Maybe you don't want to teach, you don't have time to really build a business, but you want to get your oils paid for. That would be cool. Have free healthcare, or you want to get free oils as a gift. You can refer people to me, and I will take care of them, and I will give you a gift as a thank you. And then there are some other bonus ways of earning income that, if you decide you want to do that, I can share a little bit more about exactly what that would look like. It's kind of a unique scenario by scenario situation. So if you just want to refer people to me and get free oils, awesome. If you want to refer and earn a little income, then I can show you what that would look like. And then if you want to take it to the next level and you want to learn how to enroll people so that you don't always necessarily need to rely on me, I can, give you that little extra bit of training so you know how to talk about the enrollment kits, and you also know how to physically enroll people through the website, and you have a sense of what they might need as they're getting started with their oils. And then if you want to develop into a leader, if that is a goal for you just in your lifetime of wanting to be able to, sorry, this alarm keeps going off. What is it telling me? Oh, I'm going to just change this so I don't forget. And I have another alarm that's about to go off. One moment, please. Yeah, if you see yourself being someone that is not an influencer on social media, but someone who people go to for support and guidance. If you are someone in your community that people rely on for information about health and wellness, and you want to create more connection and community in your life, and you love bringing people together, then building a team and pursuing doTERRA more as a business might be the right fit for you. And building a team and building a doTERRA business can look millions of different ways. It doesn't have to look like the way I've done it. You can customize it to what works for you. And that's the beauty of this business, is you don't have a boss. You can literally do this in whatever way feels best for you. So in terms of time commitment, if you just want to get your products paid for, you would spend about 3 to 5 hours a week on doTERRA. And that would look like personally enrolling a couple of people every month. So maybe it's your mom or your sister or a coworker or a friend or, you know, a mentor that you have that is into health and wellness and is open to essential oils. They may want to have a kit like you got when you first started, and you guys can work together and kind of support each other through this whole essential oil transformation process. If you are doing this and you are enrolling a few people every month, or maybe one month you enroll 5 and another month you don't enroll anybody, over time, if it averages out to a couple of people a month, you can get up to this elite and even premier or silver rank status. And this is the average expected income. This is not the guaranteed income, but it's about what people are making at these levels, give or take, you know, a little bit here and there. Sometimes people are making more, sometimes people are making less. There's a lot of different ways to earn income in doTERRA. There's actually 5 different ways to earn income. And I'm not going to go too deeply into all of those. But, you know, if you're doing about 3 to 5 hours a week, you could probably get to elite in about 6 to 8 months. Premier might take a little bit longer, maybe more like a year, and silver could take about up to 2 years. But hey, if in 2 years from now you had $2,000 coming in every month, like, wouldn't it be worth it to make that much money in interest on a savings account? You'd have to invest like $600,000 or even more. You may even have to get a $2,000 a month residual interest payment. You would have to invest a lot of money, like maybe even $1 million. No, and most people don't have that amount of money just laying around. So if you could just invest 3 to 5 hours of your time a week, and in 2 years have $2,000 of residual monthly income that you would basically never get from money that you're investing into a savings account or a CD, wouldn't that be worth it? To be doing that 3 to 5 hours a week on something that you're already passionate about and you're already interested and you already feel connected to. You don't have to put pressure on yourself to build quickly, it's just consistently. Then to me, it's really worth it. And I started building my business in 2014. And because I really spent that time and I was consistent about it, you know, I'm in the silver to gold range every month. And it is a miracle and a blessing that I have created this for myself. So it is absolutely possible to do if you're willing to treat this like a marathon and not a sprint. Any company who promises that you're going to like get to the highest rank in 6 months and make all this money right away, like, that is a red alert. That's why MLMs get a bad name, because people are promising exorbitant goals and riches, and, you know, they're handing out cars and all this crazy stuff. It doesn't take a lot of money. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take consistency. So if you're willing to commit to this to the long term because you're committed to your own personal healing journey, and you can share this with other people consistently and have some accountability along the way, then over time it will grow. As long as you're spending your time doing money generating activities like holding classes, inviting people to classes, following up with them, sharing samples. If you're doing those types of things and you're reaching out to people consistently, it is impossible for your business not to grow. It is impossible. And if for some reason your business isn't growing and you're doing all those things, there might just be some skill set training that you need on how to reach out to people, what to say, what to sample them with, how do you recommend kits? You know, there might just be a little bit of training in that aspect that you might need if you're not getting the results that you're looking for, because people want this. They're looking for solutions. They just need to understand why essential oils, why doTERRA, and why you, because ultimately they're buying the product, but they're really buying you because, you know, really people could just search this online and go buy directly from doTERRA's website. But the reason that they're buying from you is because you're offering this extra level of service and understanding and support that they're not going to get just buying this online. And they also get a discount, which helps, but you know, they're really wanting the support from you personally. And that's where you really get to shine and you really get to offer your gifts, your personal gifts, because they're going to be different from my gifts. They're going to be different from, you know, other people who are doing this business, they're going to be varied and unique to you. Now, if you want to supplement your income, you're going to be spending more like 10 to 15 hours a week. So that's what, like 2 to 3 hours a day. I can't tell you how much time I've spent scrolling Facebook or Instagram. You know, you go down that rabbit hole and you're like, oh, that was 8 o'clock and now it's 10 o'clock. Whoops. So if you could spend that 2 hours creating something in your life, you know, getting to gold, like if you could get to gold in 3 years, the average amount of time it takes people to get to gold is 27 months. That's a little over 2 years. So if in 2 years or maybe 3 years, you could have this amount of money coming in, game changer. Most people wouldn't have to work a job if they're at this level. So how do you want to be spending your time? Because if you can invest your time now, you don't have to spend so much time working later. And it's really powerful. It's not magic. You have to do the work, but it doesn't have to feel like work and it doesn't have to feel like a hustle. So if you're willing to reach out and connect with people and ask people for referrals and invite them to classes, if those types of things feel easy and comfortable for you, because, you know, if they're not, sometimes it just takes time and they will become easy and comfortable. But if you're open to learning how to do it, and if you're open to doing those things, then this is absolutely a viable business for you. So enrolling about 4 customers a month and 1 builder. You know, when we enroll people, we don't know if they're going to be a builder usually right off the bat, but if you're enrolling about 5 people a month, inevitably one of those people will probably want to share the oils or maybe even build a business. So those are kind of average numbers. So you're, I'm just reading in the comments here, they're buying you and your integrity. Exactly. And that's why we have to have our own personal experience with the products. It's, you know, and so you need a few months before you can really share it, because if you're sharing something that you haven't used, people know, they can tell, people can sense energy. So they want to believe you. And if you can really speak from your own personal experience, then they get it. They get it and they trust you even more. It's so hard to feel like I'm trying to sell things to people. Yeah, nobody likes to feel that. Nobody wants to feel like they're selling, and nobody wants to be sold to. It feels so icky. And I think what I've found within myself is if I am trying to like put something on someone, or I'm trying to convince them of something or change their mindset about something, then I'm putting my own agenda on it. And that's a process. Like, you know, I've had to learn that over time, and I sometimes still need to check myself, because it's like, oh my God, I know this would be so good for someone, but it's not my decision. It's their decision. All I'm doing is giving them the information so that they can make their best informed choice. So I've learned ways of asking people probing questions to help me understand what it is they need, so I can show up in the way that they need. So I'll say something like, you know, what I would recommend is this. Does that feel like the right path for you right now? Or most people that I know have tried this kit. It does this, this, and this. Does that appeal to you? Or does that fit your needs? Or does that fit your budget? Or, you know, asking things like that so people can tell me yes or no. I think asking, you know, direct questions so people can respond yes or no is just so simple, and we don't have to like guess. And I'm, you know, it's not pushy, it's just being direct, and then I'll know. If they're like, yeah, I'm not ready for that yet, then it's like, great, cool. What's the best next step for you? What would you like to know next? Do you want to come to another class? Would you, you know, do you need some time to do some research on your own? I don't want anyone to feel like they're not making their own, that they don't have sovereignty over their own choices. So my job is just to help them make a clear, informed decision. If you want to replace your income, this is going to be more like a part-time job. It would be more like 5 to 6 hours a day. So most of your day you'd spend doing doTERRA, and this isn't easy for everyone to do. If you have a situation where, you know, someone else is bringing in the income, or if you have a lot of savings, or if you already have residual income, or if you're really hardcore like I was when I first started, I was working a full-time job and I was doing doTERRA like 20 hours a week. It was pretty intense. You can make it happen. It's totally possible. You're enrolling about 10 people a month. And you can really replace your income. You could reach this diamond and blue diamond and presidential diamond levels, like, you know, within On average, it looks like presidential diamond happens 71. That would be 5 to 6 years. I know someone who's hit presidential diamond in a year, and that is bananas. I would not recommend that. It's really hard to build your business that fast and make it sustainable, because what really is sustainable is the amount of time you put into each person, educating them about their products, making them feel comfortable, helping them understand the LRP, helping to create a 90-day plan. It's not about the numbers. It's not about how many people we have, because you can build a beautiful business with just a core set of people. Because if you learn what those people need and you win their trust, they're going to refer you to your friends. And that's where the networking part of the network marketing comes in, is that you can build your business through your referrals, and you want to nourish the existing relationships that you have. So my mistake in the beginning of my business was feeling like I had to enroll like hundreds of people, which I did, but I didn't nourish those people enough. So a lot of them just disappeared out of my life. And I've learned that lesson over time, that it's better to nourish than it is to just try and like fill a whole field of seeds. Like, nourish the seeds you already have, because if you don't, those seeds are going to die. How did I know hundreds of people? Well, that's the thing. I didn't. I knew a handful of people who knew handfuls of people who knew handfuls of people. And I was really good at asking for referrals. And so that is one area where, if you can get the courage up to ask somebody to refer people to you, or even better, like, hey, if you really enjoyed this class, would you be open to hosting a class for me and inviting people who you think would be into this? And then they host a class, and then you have people come, and then somebody from that class hosts a class, and then you have people come. So that is how I've really built relationships with my customers, so that they feel confident and comfortable referring me to their friends and family. And that's how I have built my business over the last 8 years. I also go to events sometimes. That can be helpful. I met some people at an event this past weekend, so that's a great way to know people as well. But if events aren't an option, then asking for referrals, I think, is the best way. Any community that you can create too. doTERRA has been such a beautiful expansion for me, because I have social anxiety. So I've been going out of my comfort zone to go to events, but also creating more communities. So, not necessarily with the intention of sharing doTERRA, but joining a book club, or, joining an acting group, or just knowing more people, connecting more people, joining like a witchy women's group. Like, I just have found ways to build relationships in general. And then if doTERRA naturally comes up, then great. But in the end, it's about me enjoying my life more and having more opportunities for leadership and, relationship and community. So, and you'd be surprised how many people you know. By the time you're 30, they say you know at least 2,000 people. And, we may not have cultivated relationships with all those 2,000 people, but we get to start now. So I think that is the biggest personal development part of doTERRA, is me learning how to cultivate relationships. It's one thing to make friends, but it's a different story to cultivate friendship. All right, so the ways that you can present, there's lots of ways, but you can do classes, which are more formal. You can also just do one-on-one classes. You can just even do a 3-way call. So if somebody's like, hey, I want to learn about oils, but they're not all about getting on Zoom, you can get on a 3-way call with me or whoever your mentor is, and we could just talk through options with the potential person who may want to get a kit or start with some oils. In-person classes are really the best way to expose people to oils, because they get to smell them. But with COVID and people's schedules and people working from home and not necessarily wanting to run around places, in-person classes are harder. So online webinars have sort of taken over. But anytime you can do an in-person class, it's ideal. You can do it in your house, but if you don't want to do it in your house, you can do it at a coffee shop. There were a lot of places that I got to agree to give me a table in like the back area, and I would present at their restaurant or their coffee shop or their juice bar. I asked my local chiropractor and my acupuncture. I got a lot of courage to just, see who locally, like, hey, do you know anything about oils? Are you open to me hosting a class at your office? And a lot of those practitioners love it, because it brings clients in their clients learn more about different holistic practices, and it just expands their, their customers and clients trusting them, and just, it's a fun way to involve the community. I recommend giving people a sample of an oil that will give a quick result. So wild orange and peppermint are two of my favorites because you can immediately notice the benefit. Peppermint immediately opens your sinuses and brings you energy. Wild orange can immediately boost your mood. Breathe oil is another great one. Things like frankincense, not only are they expensive, but it takes a little bit longer to see the benefit from those. Anything you can put in water that somebody can taste is a great option. Eucalyptus, things that are in the kits that people can sample are also great, because if they like it and it's in the kit, they'll be more inclined to understand the value of the kit. So once they've had a positive experience, you can invite them to a class. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they come to a class first and then they get a sample. But typically if somebody has sampled the oils and then they come to a class, they're more likely to be open to trying a kit because they get it. They've like experienced the oil and they understand the potency. But sometimes they come to a class, then they get a sample, then they come to another class, then they try another sample, and then they come to 5 more classes, and then they're ready for a kit. So there is no linear way around it. Yeah, an in-person class someday. I feel like you're probably already ready to do it, Allie. You've been to so many of these classes. I bet you could teach a class. I would put my money on that you could. Not that you have to, but I bet that you could. If you want to prepare to host a class, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays usually have the best attendance because people are in town. They don't have a lot of other plans. They're willing to just hop on a Zoom. You can sample them before inviting. Usually I invite about 10 people if I want a class size of 6 to 8. Not everyone will attend, obviously. There are some scripts that you can use from dailymentorcalls.com, or if you want some suggestions, I can let you know what I found works. It's always good to call the person before the class. I know a lot of people, especially in this day and age, think that if you call them, it's an emergency and they won't pick up the phone. So voice notes are great so people can hear your voice, or if you have to, just text them. But I like to text 2 days in advance, and I'll say like, oh, I can't wait to see you on Tuesday. I have a surprise for you at the class. And that's sort of indicating that there's going to be a giveaway. If you can't give away an entire oil, you could just give away a sample at the class, or you could give away a worksheet, or you can give away really anything. It doesn't have to be something fancy. I just have so much stock and I love giving gifts that I can give away a jasmine oil, but that's not something that you would have to expect. People get excited even just about tiny samples. So, you don't even have to do a giveaway either, but it always kind of brings some energy, and it encourages people to stay to the end of your presentation. And if you're going to host a class, usually you want to introduce the presenter, share who they are, where they've come from, share your personal experience, try to eliminate distractions if you can, diffuse some uplifting oils, provide water so people can have that experience of tasting the oils. And then after the class is when you would provide refreshments. I find that if people have refreshments at the beginning of the class, they get a little distracted. So I'll have maybe some peppermint infused gluten-free brownies, or maybe some On Guard soaked apples. And sometimes I'll even do, like if it's a brunchy thing and if people are drinking, a little, Prosecco with a drop of wild orange. It's like an instant mimosa without all that extra sugar of the orange juice. So those are some ideas that you can do if you did ever want to do an in-person class. Yeah, and then the classes are easy. They're pretty much what we've done tonight. Give them a sample, tell them the 3 cool things about oils, 3 ways to use them, show the kits, the end. You don't have to go through all the science and everything. I mean, I've just been doing this for so long, I sometimes can't stop myself from talking too much about all of it, but you can keep it simple and the oils are going to sell themselves, really. I mean, people use the oils. If they like them, they're going to want them. And it's just going to be a matter of why doTERRA, why now, and which kit. So it wraps things up. That's sort of a crash course in how to get started and how to host and how to get people interested in the oils and getting them a little bit more education to know which oils they need. And if you have any final questions, please let me know. Thanks for sticking around and watching the rest of this. You can always text me if there is anything that comes up after the fact that you think of. Yay! You're welcome, Allie. Thanks for being here too. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you very soon.